Welcome back to the channel. My name is Derek Coffey, and I'm the founder of FWP. And if you've saved $1 million in your 401k, then congratulations. You are part of the less than 10% of U.S. citizens that have that much money saved in those accounts. Now, as exciting as that achievement is, the IRS is just as excited that you've saved that much money. And the reason that is because they're patiently waiting for their slice. If you remember, throughout your career, you saved money into your 401k on a pre-tax basis, meaning you didn't have to pay taxes at that time. But as you get older and you get into retirement and you start pulling money out of those accounts, the IRS is ready for their share. In retirement, your taxes are confusing because there are a lot of moving pieces. But the more money that you have in a pre-tax account, the longer you live, the more complicated your tax picture is going to be. That's unless you have a plan for it. One of the more talked about ways that people can go about controlling their tax bill in retirement is through Roth conversions. In this video, we're going to get into a situation where we have a 65-year-old couple who have $1 million saved in their pre-tax accounts, and we're going to show how doing Roth conversions can save them over $150,000 in taxes, as well as leave over $4 million to their beneficiaries, all tax-free. Stay tuned. If you've never heard of the term Roth conversion, then the premise is that you take money out of your pre-tax account and convert it to a Roth IRA account. Now, when you make this conversion, you're going to owe taxes at that time, at whatever your tax rate is. But the hope is that as that tax-free account grows, then later on in life, you can withdraw that money and pay less in taxes. Now, Roth conversions are not meant for everyone. They are very situation specific. So you need to get with your accountant and your financial advisor and determine if the Roth conversion is going to make the most sense. If you are in a situation where the Roth IRA does make sense, then it could be very valuable. So there are two reasons why you would want to do a Roth conversion. The first of which is controlling your taxes in retirement. The money you have in that pre-tax account is going to grow, ideally. And at some point, the government's going to force you to take money out of that account. And this is called an RMD, or a required minimum distribution. If you were born after 1960, your RMD age is going to be 75. So once you hit 75, approximately 4% of any money that's in a pre-tax account is going to be forced out as your RMD. When this occurs, you're going to owe taxes on it. To help avoid this or reduce those taxes, you could consider a Roth conversion. The second way that a Roth conversion can help you, and this is especially true with your legacy planning or your estate planning, is that if you pass on pre-tax account money to your beneficiaries, they're going to have to remove that money within 10 years. All of the money that they take out of that account, they're going to have to pay income taxes on. If you do the Roth conversion and you pay the taxes on it while you're alive, any money they receive from a Roth IRA, they don't have to take the money out of it, and they don't have to pay any taxes on it when they do. So with the Roth conversion, there are two main goals. We want to control our taxes in retirement as best we can, and then we also want to take care of our beneficiaries when we pass that money along. So to help you understand this a little bit better, we're going to look at it by the numbers. What we're going to assume is that we have a 65-year-old couple who just retired. They have $1 million in their 401ks, and they have two goals with their retirement. The first of which, they don't want to pay any taxes, so they want to reduce their tax bill as much as they possibly can. The second goal is to leave as much money as they possibly can for their children. For them and their situation, because their Social Security covers the majority of their living needs, then a Roth conversion is something that they should consider. With these scenarios, we are going to attempt to fill the 12 or 15% tax brackets. The reason that I bring up the 15% is because as of 2025, the second marginal tax bracket that you can find yourself in is 12%. If the Tax Cut and Jobs Act from 2017 expires, then that tax bracket goes up to 15% because everything reverts back to what it was in 2017. So in the first scenario, we're going to assume that they're both going to live until they're 90 years old. They're both 65 now. They're both going to live 25 years, and we're going to try to maximize this Roth conversion. What we want to look at first is what happens if they don't do the Roth conversion. Well, I can show you. So if they decide not to do the Roth conversion, they're going to receive their $44,000 from Social Security. They're not going to have any planned distributions, but they're going to take out any income that they need from their pre-tax accounts just to fill that income gap. The little bit of money that they are going to take out isn't going to be enough for them to have a tax bill in their first year of retirement. And they're actually not going to have a tax bill until they hit age 75. Again, at age 75, because of their age, that's when they're going to have to take their required minimum distributions. They started with that $1 million, they're taking out just a little bit to fill that income gap. That account's going to grow rather large. So by the time they get to 75 years old, they're going to have roughly $2 million in that account, and they're going to have an $80,000 RMD to go with it. So for those first 10 years, they just took out what they needed. They didn't really have a tax bill. But in year 10, their tax bill is now almost $17,000. And that's all due to that RMD. Now, if we continue on all the way to age 90, they're going to keep taking those RMDs. They're going to still continue to have those tax bills that they're going to have to pay. And then ultimately, at age 90, they will have paid $542,000 in income taxes. Now, keep in mind, we are talking about a couple that lives in Virginia because that's where I live. So there is a state income tax that has to be accounted for. But in general, you get the point. So over their 25-year retirement, they're paying $542,000 in income taxes. At the end of their retirement, they're going to leave their beneficiaries almost $2.9 million. Now, if you remember from earlier in the video, their beneficiaries are going to have to liquidate these accounts over 10 years. If we assume that they're liquidating these accounts at a 20% effective tax rate because everything they receive from these accounts is going to go right on top of the income that they already earn, then the post-tax value of the money that they left over is $2.3 million. Now, if you don't care about the tax bill that your beneficiaries are going to inherit because they're inheriting over $2 million, then so be it. A Roth conversion doesn't really matter. But if you are looking to control both your tax bill in retirement and the tax bill that's left to your beneficiaries, then the conversion could help. So in the same scenario, we're going to assume that they're going to go through with this conversion. They're still going to get their $44,000 from Social Security. They're still going to take out the little bit of money that they need for their income, but then any additional room that we have left within the 12 or 15% tax bracket, we're going to convert that amount of money from their 401ks. So even though they don't have a planned distribution other than just that little bit of income need that they have, they're going to have a $15,200 tax bill in year one of their retirement, and that's mostly due to that conversion. We carry on until they hit 75, where they're still going to have to take out $36,000 for their RMD. But what I want you to notice is that this is less than half of the RMD they would have taken out had they not done the conversion. With the $36,000, there's still plenty of room for them to convert some of their pre-tax money. So their tax bill in year 10 of their retirement is going to be $21,384. As we go down to age 87, you'll notice that the RMD that they have to take out is $5,530. The reason this is because they've converted almost all of that pre-tax money into a Roth. Their total tax bill when they hit age 87 is $18,000. Once that year is over with and there's no more money left in those pre-tax accounts, they no longer have an RMD. They also no longer have a tax bill. So if we compare everything apples to apples, the total income tax paid with the Roth conversion is just shy of $500,000, and the difference between the two is $43,337. So it's not a lot of money, but $43,000 is still a significant amount of money. If we look at what's left to their beneficiaries, there's nothing in that pre-tax account. It's all been converted. Because of that, their Roth account has grown to just over $4.5 million. All of that money is left to their beneficiaries on a tax-free basis. Yes, they're going to have to liquidate that account in 10 years because they inherited it. But when they take those withdrawals, they're not going to have to pay any income taxes on it. So the difference here on a post-tax basis is $2.2 million. So if you really care about your taxes in retirement and the tax bill that you leave to your kids, then a Roth conversion is something you should strongly consider. Now, in a lot of cases, we plan for both spouses to live until the same age or pass away at the same time. But we know in real life that's not exactly how it works. In a lot of cases, one spouse may pass away and the other one could live on for 10 or 15 or 20 years, depending on how young the other one actually passed away. So, to show you why the Roth conversions can be even more valuable, I want to show you the consequences of a widow's tax. So, if we assume that exact scenario where one of them lives to 80 and the other one lives to 90, these numbers start to look a little bit different. So, if they decide not to do a conversion, then everything looks the same all the way up until age 80 when one of those spouses passes away. The issue becomes the surviving spouse is now a single filer. The RMDs aren't going to change because they're going to inherit the 401k from the spouse. So their RMD percentage is going to be the same based on their age, and it's going to be based on the same amount of money. So because of this, their tax bill from age 80 to 81 goes up by about $8,000. It's exactly $8,000. And if this carries on for the next 10 years, the widow is left with a tax bill, a total tax bill that's $70,000 more than if they both lived to age 90. And this is the widow's tax. When one of you passes away and there's one left and you become a single filer, your income is only going to go down by the amount of Social Security that you lose. Those RMDs are still going to be in place, and it's still going to be the same amount as if you were both alive. So by doing a conversion, this can help with that tax bill. Now, the ending account value is still the same as if you didn't do the conversion. It's still 2.9 million, assuming the children inherit it and they're paying a 20% effective rate on it. It's 2.3 million as an after-tax value. But if we decide to do the conversion, again, everything's going to look the same until age 81. At age 81, the surviving spouse is filing as a single filer. And we're still going to operate the conversions based on that 12 or 15% tax bracket. It's just going to limit the amount that we can truly convert. What you'll notice, though, is with the tax bill, when they become a single filer, it gets cut in half, like it should be. Simple math says that if you go from married, filing jointly to single, the amount of taxes that you owe should go down by 50%. But that's not the case. So doing the conversion and sticking with the same parameters, their tax bill goes down by half, just like it should. If we continue on with this, by the end of the single filer's life, they will have paid $459,000 in total income taxes doing this Roth conversion. Now, if we compare that to the $610,000 that they would have paid had they not done the conversion, that's $151,000 difference in total income taxes. So by implementing that Roth conversion, they saved themselves a significant amount of money. Now, when we look at what goes on to the beneficiaries, because of the one spouse passing away and we're losing that room within the married filing jointly, there's still going to be over $400,000 in that pre-tax account. Because from about 87 to age 90, we lost room to do the Roth conversions. So the $400,000 is still going to pass on to the children. They're going to have to deal with that tax bill. But they're still going to receive over $4 million of tax-free money that's sitting in that Roth IRA. Now, I want you to keep in mind that Roth conversions aren't for everyone. Like I stated earlier, they're very situation dependent. There are a lot of rules that you have to follow. It's a very convoluted process. But if your situation dictates that you should do a Roth conversion, then as we went over, it could be very valuable. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. If this video or any of the other videos that I've put out has provided you value, then hit that subscribe button. If you're looking for another method to maybe control those taxes in retirement, check out this video right here. But I thank you again for tuning in. I'll talk to you soon.